Alright guys, let's talk the KD trade so far. This is 99% Rockets. The 1% for the Suns is Jalen Green hasn't played, Dillon Brooks has missed the last 4, he was taking too many shots before he went down, and Malawach has barely played. So there you go, they had a nice win versus the Spurs. So for the Rockets, I think we've already seen everything that you could have suspected for this team, especially after the Fred injury. We've seen them be way too big, athletic, and physical for the Celtics and the Raptors. But the Raptors also made so many threes in that game, I'm wondering, should I care about this? I think I do. They also had a rough fourth quarter on offense against the Pistons, and we saw them go down to the wire with OKC, where even if they're not healthy, they're still beating everybody. By the time you see this, they may have played Dallas already. They're first in offensive rating early in the season. Basically, their whole team besides Amen is making threes, including Okogie and Tari Eason right now. They're grabbing a whole lot of offensive rebounds, especially Steven Adams. They're drawing a whole lot of fouls. Let's start with KD. Turns out he's still really good, man. And it's been everything you would expect. It's been, some pin downs, getting a handoff from Şengün or Steven Adams, typical two-man game with either one of those guys. Jabari is screened for him. They've cleared one side of the floor for him to ISO. He's making every jump shot he attempts. This is Kevin Durant. This is why they traded for him. Going from Jalen Green to him is crazy. Love whenever he can get a backdoor cut with Şengün in the high post. That's all obvious, but I don't want to skirt past it. Okay, so in the case of the Raptors and Celtics wins, like I said, they were just too much. I mean, the amount of plays where like Derek White is trying to drive and he's got Şengün or Steven Adams or KD or Jabari or Amen or Capella in the paint, or he's got Shepard or Okogie or Tari Eason just all over him. Or Jabari is blocking Jalen at the rim and then Amen is killing him on a three-point play in transition. Steven Adams as well as Jabari just stonewalled Jalen on a couple of ISOs. Yes, the schedule makers were also not nice to the Celtics on this one, I know. The free throw discrepancy in the game was obscene. It was like 35-7. The Rockets, as of right now, they're shooting the most free throws in the league. They're also allowing the least, and they're committing like the 5th least fouls per game so far. It's very early on. The averages get weird, but they were 20th in fouls last year. Yeah, Dillon Brooks would get physical with guys, but most of the team is still pretty much the same, so you'd think that it'll normalize some. And I do think if this trend continues, you're going to start to see some non-Rockets fans get very upset. It already happened a little bit with Celtics fans last night, but like, if the trend continues of, we are very big, therefore you have to foul us, or else you don't have a chance, and also, because we're so big, we don't have to foul you, then yeah, they're going to just bludgeon teams in the math on some of these games. Anyway, on to the Raptors game. So, they grabbed like 17 offensive rebounds. The two I remember the most where it's like Mamu, and I want to say it was like RJ, trying to wrestle Steven Adams and Jabari underneath the rim. Not happening. Jabari gets it, he gets fouled. Another one where Steven Adams, with one hand, takes it away from RJ and quickly underneath the rim, and then it becomes a KD wide open three. And in that game, I mean, the Raptors, again, they made a million threes. We'll talk about that in a second, because the Rockets up to this point are actually allowing way more three-point attempts this season than they were last year. But it's early. I mean, the Celtics, they're just going to take a lot of threes no matter who they're facing. I mean, the only strategy to slowing down SGA is just throwing bodies at them. But there were some plays where it'd be like Jamal Shed or quickly getting downhill, and you'd see like Tari Eason helping out of the opposite corner on RJ, and he's just wide open, and there's very little closeouts, or a couple times where Steven Adams just told CMB or Mamu just go ahead, and they would make it. I don't know, but as far as that game overall, even with those threes, they still beat the Raptors. But yeah, the Raptors game, I mean, I know Amen wasn't perfect, especially with the turnovers, but I did think he got them out in transition for what would lead to like a Okogie threes or a Şengün dunk or a Jabari three. He did have 2 great disruptive help defense plays off of like Scotty or CMB, where he was switching a little bit beforehand. And I thought Şengün had a really good passing game where the Raptors were trying to crowd him, but whether it's finding Amen for a cut, KD for a three, Steven Adams, they ran like a 2-man game in the middle of the floor. I would love to know if there was an advanced stat that was like what the Rockets' offensive rating is when they find Amen off of rebounds. Because him flying down the court, I mean, we know that's good. Now we get to their game against the Pistons, which this would be the game that you highlight if you have skepticism about the half-court offense, especially with Fred being out here, right? Again, as I say this, as of right now, they are first in offense. There were a number of plays where it's like Tari Eason and Amen who end up in the corners because they want to run like the KD Şengün 2-man game at the top of the key, or even the KD Jabari 2-man game for a little bit at the top of the key, and there's just so many bodies in the paint. Or it's like Şengün in the dunker spot, or Amen's in the dunker spot, and again, there's just a lot of bodies in the paint, so you had like a number of possessions where like Jabari or Şengün are just missing a shot at the rim, with like Cade, Tobias, Duncan Robinson, Paul Reed, just all over them. Or it allowed like a Sar to block Şengün at the rim, who was complaining a lot in that fourth quarter to the refs. And KD was cooking for that fourth and the whole game. He had like 37, but they could just put 2 to the ball on him when he ran the screen. And that was one of my questions with this team coming into the year, and that was when Fred was still healthy. It was, how do they counter doubles on KD? Like, they had one really nice Jabari three in the fourth off of KD being doubled. That was when I really wanted to see Amen running in the full court, but the ball just never found him like that. He did get blocked by Cade one time in that fourth. Again, a lot of bodies in the paint. But if you can get him into a half-court dogfight where you can match their physicality, then suddenly you can start to see some of the things pop up. Like, if you rush KD enough as a ball handler, okay, sometimes you can bother him a little bit. You can always dare Amen as a jump shooter. You can always just, crowd Şengün at the rim and, really test his finishing stuff. So yeah, will they trade for a guard? I don't know. They got the assets. One thing I didn't think about when Fred went down, because it's just ruthless, but other people have brought it up, it would be silly not to bring it up at all. You could put Fred in a deal. It feels bad to say that to a dude who got hurt, but yes, that is technically an option. Dorian Finney-Smith has not played. Like everybody else, I am skeptical of what Reed Shepherd looks like in a playoff game where teams can just, go at him with size. I've seen a bunch of Derek White suggestions. You will not take Derek White from me. I know he can't make a shot right now. I don't care. One more thing, Jabari's efficiency is being held down by one game against the Pistons. The rest of him, he shot well, just fitting in the flow of whatever. Catch and shoot. He's occasionally been an outlet for little post-ups here and there. Again, used as a screener occasionally, transition. But yeah, they're really good. Assuming that they're not secretly having a three-point defense problem, because again, the attempts they're giving up are just more than it was a year ago. I do think the defense will get back to what we expect it to. They are first in offensive rating right now. They're really good, no doubt.